Good morning, guys. Welcome in. Welcome. How is everybody doing? Some Cloudflare issues in this pre-market session. Everything's laggy. Everything's going crazy. I don't know if you guys are seeing this as well, but we have some big outages across the market. But we are live and we are here. We are live and we are here. Welcome in. Welcome in. I hope you guys all had a nice day. Meta, thank you. Much appreciated, Meta. Thank you for the $4. Thank you for the coffee. That's very nice of you. Thank you for always supporting as well. Welcome in, guys. A lot of things happening in this pre-market session. Some ominous things occurring, right? Some Cloudflare outages causing global problems, at least in the US, from what I'm seeing. I was laggy this morning on my OBS. My OBS was super laggy. And I think we'll see it on some other things today as well. So understand today's session is probably going to be a little bit of an interesting one. How did you guys do yesterday? How did you guys all come out yesterday? Everyone was green yesterday? Not in your long-term portfolios, though. Not your long-term portfolios. I'm talking about in the short term. Because in the short term, we're probably all in the same boat here, okay? In the short term, we're all very red. But at least in the day trade tab, right? Day trade section. Day trades in general, I think most people are doing it right. Green. Some reds, though. Huh. Some reds, big green. Nice job, Ness. Carlos, red. Green and apple. Apple, you traded apple yesterday. Okay. Did anyone trade Amazon? I saw nobody trading Amazon yesterday. I think I was the only one trading Amazon yesterday. And we're already seeing some problems here. I'm lagging like crazy right now. My keyboard's lagging. All right, let's dive into it, guys. So what I want to do is you got some Amazons in there, some Amazoners, some Amazonians in here. All right, that makes me feel a bit better. Okay, so guys, I'm lagging this morning. I'm here though. I'm here every day. I don't care what's going on. I'll be here. Okay, so that's just what it is. We have some Cloudflare issues impact the internet. We have lags. Everyone's lagging. Okay, I'm lagging. You're lagging. Everyone's lagging. Okay, we're on the same boat. So let's just not talk about it. Let's just focus on what we can focus on, which is our charts. That's why we're all here. So big things happening here in our morning session. What I want to do is I want to just dive into our. Hold on a second. Where the hell is my econ data today? Where's my econ data? I don't even have my econ data open this morning. It should have been prepared for me, but it's not. Anyway, so we're not even going to go over it, right? We're just going to pretend it's not there. Probably no econ data. What I'll do is I'll open it up on my side thing here, on my side panel. Econ data for today's session. Today is Tuesday, November the 18th. It's 8:36 in the morning. On this Tuesday session, we have a whole bunch of data, which you guys already know is delayed. We have import price delayed. We have industrial production delayed. We have capacity utilization also delayed. Factory orders 10 o'clock. It's a delayed report. And then home builder at 10 o'clock as well. So nothing crazy today's session. One Fed speaker at 10:30. So nothing important to talk about on the earnings side or the econ data. You guys already know it. In my opinion, it's kind of redundant at this point because, again, it's not important. If all the data is delayed every single morning, what's the purpose of us spending 2-3 minutes on it per morning, right? It's a waste of our time. When the market, when the economy opens back up, I mean, obviously it's already open, but when the government starts releasing data again, we'll spend more time on that. But for now, it's obviously not an important factor. Hence, we'll just skip it. So, yes, Cloudflare is down. If you guys don't know what that is, just Google it. Again, you have more information than I will. But it does impact a lot of things this morning. And not as crazy as CrowdStrike, but Cloudflare is a important thing. I'm not gonna pretend I know it because, again, I'm just a trader. So let's not talk about that. All right, so guys, SPY chart. What's going on in the SPY chart? On the S&P 500 yesterday, what did we see? I mean, this was got to be one of the most picture perfect sessions to start the Monday, right? And why do I say that? Okay, because the first thing that we discussed in the pre-market was one, the supply above. Okay, the 675 supply above was the level to watch, right? Moving to that level, we saw us reject around 674, which is technically the bottom of that supply zone was 674, right? And that's exactly where we produced our opening bell rejections yesterday. And this is where we began to create our thesis to go short off the market open, right? I was not short here on SPY perfectly. I didn't short the perfect high here, but I did short Amazon while this chart was moving into supply. Amazon was doing what? So while this chart was moving into supply yesterday, you had your relatively weak names, which was your Amazon, maybe your Apple, maybe your Nvidia, right? Bear flagging under a support zone, which was your best possible short entry. Well, this chart was back in a supply. So very, very beautiful day yesterday here on SPY off the supply zone. And then not only that, but we moved to supply, which is our key level here, 574. Again, that was a level from our Friday session, the Friday rejection point, and the lows before the breakdown on Thursday, and the low of that Monday session, 675. So you see how important that 674, 675 was, and this was a discussion point. My head's huge. My head's big. Yes, I see it. Hold on. Let's fix that. Can I fix it though? That's the problem. I don't know if I can. Oh, I can. There we go. Yep. That's a much more tolerable size head. Okay. So now you guys can all see the chart a bit better. So on this chart this morning, right, you had the 675, 674 key level of resistance. We tapped it yesterday, we rejected yesterday, and we moved back into a level of supply, or demand rather, 670.50. And if you look at this chart right now, what I want to do is, I know it's a little bit weird, but I want to run a fixed range volume profile because I want to just see where the heavy volume spots are this morning, because that's going to give us insight as to what we should be watching going into our opening session. Okay, so the first thing you're going to notice here is all of our heavy volume was transacted above the 675s, right? So a lot of transactions here in between this range. And it makes sense because we had a lot of price action here, right? There's a lot of price action between 670.50 and 675. This is where all the heavy volume was, all the heavy sellers are on the market. So the thing I'm watching for today's session is I'm looking to see, can we pop back higher into our high volume nodes, which would be the 675s, for potential lower high rejections. That's the biggest and most important thing this morning is, can we see the pop and fader, right? A little bit of a pop and fade reaction this morning, which would be the pop and fade 670.50 for the downside trade. I no longer would watch this though. This is a super important thing. Yesterday, I said that we can watch the 675 rejection. Today, I don't, even though it may happen, right? I wouldn't trade it. I would only look for the 670.5 rejection. If that does happen, I'll look for a downside. If this level breaks and we go higher to 675, we're putting too much pressure on our resistance levels, in which case I think that the bears begin to get wrecked, okay? In which case you see an upside move. So be aware of that. I obviously respect the level, right? Respect your level more than speculation, right? That's the one thing I should say is respect your level more than speculation. And my statement there was pure speculation. But again, that's my market read this morning. Is basically we were downtrending, we're forming lower highs, and a lower high must form here at 670.50 for downside to continue, right? That's the biggest thing to watch this morning. Likewise, we have a colossal level here at 662, okay? And why is 662 so important? It's important because it's the description of today's live stream video. But not only because of that, but also because of the fact that it's a very big level. You can see how important 662 is on the S&P 500, right? You see V-shaped reversal, V-shaped reversal, V-shaped reversal, and the question mark is, what does it do here at the 662 this morning? Is it going to be yet another V-shaped reversal? Or do we see us continue and break down underneath the V level, okay? The V level, the golden level, the megalodon level, whatever you want to call it, this is the level we have to break. This is your megalodon level this morning. If we can clear back under 662, I'm looking for downside moves. If we can hold the 662, I think we're going to go higher today, back into the highs here at 675. So my morning session, my opening bell read this morning is focus on one thing and one thing only. It's right in front of you. It's staring at you, wearing a brightly colored neon shirt. Where's Waldo? It's right there. It's right here. If we see this morning session do a little bit of a bam, 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 it's a long. It's a long back in the highs. If you see us break under 662, a little bit of a bam, 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 it's a short, okay? Back into 652. I don't know what's going to happen yet. I don't know what's going to happen yet, but that's what I'm watching this morning to see what we do here at the 662s. Again, watch and wait, get a read of the intraday price action, and execute once it's confirmed. But right now, this is the most important level. It's the lows of yesterday's session. It's the lows of almost the pre-market. It's the lows of that Friday, November 7th, and it's the low of these lows and these lows and these lows and these highs before we rallied higher. Okay, so again, very important level here, very high volume area at 662, either upside or downside. I still would watch though, I still would keep an eye at the 675s for rejections though. If we do pop higher today, a little bit of this action, right? You long it, let's just say you long the opening bell, you get a little downside move on supply, bam, looking for shorts there. So again, that's what I'm looking for this morning. Let's see how the market responds to our levels on the intraday, and we'll create a game plan off of that, right? Malik Alexander, thank you, Malik. Thank you, Malik. Thank you for the $1.99 times two. The $1.99 times two. That's very nice of you. Thank you for supporting, Malik. Much appreciated for that. Okay. So that's what it is this morning, guys. That's what it is. Let's move on. Okay. What I want to do is I want to clear out this chart before I move on. It takes me a second for whatever reason because everything's lagging. ES. ES. Okay. On the ES chart this morning, it is as simple as the SPY chart is. Okay. So yesterday we spoke about the 6800 ES, which was basically where we moved into, right? We moved into the 6800 level, which was, I would actually argue yesterday's level never fully tapped on the ES, which I think is a little bit bizarre. I'm actually surprised about this one. You see how we didn't tap the supply here. The highs of that Friday, the 14th, right, on ES was 67.95, which we were very far away from on our pre-market, on our Monday morning session. Now, on the S&P 500 chart, I mean, it's, again, you could argue, yeah, we didn't really tap it either, right? We technically never tapped the highs of our Friday session, but we were closer to it. We were in bounds of our zone yesterday, which to me, and for a percent move, I wonder how different it is. So percent move difference between the highs of our Friday session to the highs of our Monday session is about 0.29% or $1.97, okay? On the ES chart, what's the percent difference? You guys may wonder why I'm doing this. It's not so important, but I like to see if there's discrepancies on the ES and SPY because it helps me create my levels. So no discrepancy. It's the same thing, guys. Okay, so the ES chart and the SPY chart, same thing. It looks like a level was probably just simply wrong here in the ES, right? So what adjustment must be made here on the ES chart? Well, the first thing I'll do is I'll probably just encapsulate a larger zone here, right? So between 6,800, which we'll adjust to now, and the 60... What are the highs of these consolidations? The consolidation high here at 67.86. So I'll have this as my new zone here on the ES chart. Again, that's user error, right? We just basically confirmed our chart here on the ES chart was technically incorrect, right? So making adjustments after we get that data on Monday, that's why we are data collectors on Monday for this exact reason. So ES chart now adjusted properly, and you can see this is our zone here. And again, it's really not much different from what it was, but this is my zone here of supply. Okay, so supply here, 6,800 ES. My other leg of supply is 6750, big resistance level, and our demand zone below 6660. So 6660 here on the ES chart. KJT bullish, much appreciated. Thank you for the $4.99. That's very nice of you. And Clutch King Mo, new trader with Camp Field Rect on the 12-19 700 call. Oh man, Clutch King. We'll go over it, man. I think you are a little bit cooked there. I think you're cooked. To be honest, man, you're cooked. But you can always sell, right? You can always get out of that. I mean, you'll make it back. You'll make it back, but I would definitely get out of that. It's way too far away with the strike price, okay? So on the ES chart, you're at demand this morning. The question is, do we V-shape off the V-shaped Megalodon level, or do we hold, or do we fill back lower? Okay, so this is it, right? This is where it is. You've seen it multiple times before. You see a V-shape, right? You see a V-shape, you see a V-shape. And the question this morning is, what do we do now? Do we V-shape yet again off the 6660, or do we start to do we do this, or do we do a little bit of this, right? That's what I'm looking for this morning here in the ES chart. Is what do we do at 6660? Again, I'm not saying we go full force bearish this morning at our demand lows. That's super important. We must be aware of this. Everyone's looking for downside this morning. I like downside too, but it doesn't mean we can do that because we are sitting at a level, right? We've seen it so many times. Ask yourself this: did you in your head want to look for puts going into our morning here on our Friday session? Did you want to do it, right? Did you want to look for puts in the Friday session? For me, the answer was yeah, I did, right? And that's why, like, sometimes the thing that you want to do in the morning is the thing that you shouldn't do in the morning, right? And so just understand that that's what everyone's thinking this, right? Everyone's thinking let's go short at the open, let's buy puts at the open. And I'm not saying it won't work, but I'm saying things become dangerous. It's that exact reason why. The reason why everyone wants to go short is because we're moving down lower. And the reason why we may V-shape, and the reason why we V-shaped in the past is because of the exact same reason. Because everyone shorts the lows here, they get stopped out, buying back the shares, and they cause the stock to rally up higher, right? So again, we have to understand that the best short is going to be either there or it's going to be under these lows for the downside move. Okay, so the one thing I'll say is don't short back into these lows because that's where these V-shapes come in. Okay, on the QQQ chart, where is it at? It's right here. It's right here. It's now or never. It is simply the 599 level here in Qs. It is right there. It is right there. It is right there. It is right there. What did we talk about yesterday in the QQQ? We said there were two levels to watch for on the Monday morning. It was level 1, 613. It was level 2, 599. Okay, and what did we do yesterday? We rejected perfectly off the 613 high, which was our Monday's highs yesterday, for the downside trade. Now this morning, we are opening back up into our demand zone, back up into our key support. And again, our thing to watch for this morning is either going to be, do we see a little bit of this action today, right? In which case we can look for longs back in highs. Or do we see us fail back below the 599, back below the lows of our Monday morning session and the lows of our Friday morning session for the downside trade? Because again, this is what it is. It is simply scenario 1 or scenario 2. And I'm not going to be the person that says, someone in the first few minutes of the live stream this morning said, Brett, where's SPY going to go? I don't know where SPY is going to go. I would not know that, right? But we will know 20 minutes the market open, right? If we see us beginning to form a little bit of a base at market open on a 5-minute time frame, like this, for example, right? We see us do this, then there's a possibility of an upside move, right? And then let's just say by 11 o'clock, where you start trending higher today off the open, at 11 o'clock, you see a little bit of rejection off of some sort of low. Let's just say you reject off the 605 today in the Qs, and you start breaking back underneath our level here, then I can tell you we're going to go lower in the market, right? So everything, my bias, my understanding, the reasoning behind where I think the market goes is based on the level, okay? If we are above this level, I'm looking mostly for longs. If we're below this level, I'm looking mostly for shorts. Now, granted, it doesn't mean you can't look for rejection shorts. On the Qs, you have one level to watch for rejection shorts today. It's the 605. It's the lows of that Thursday session. It's the lows of that Monday morning session before the breakdown. And that's where we are this morning here on the Qs. So if we see us pop higher today in the QQQ, you could watch the 605, 606 rejection. That should be your main spot today. Look for retest rejection shorts. Likewise, under 599, that's your key thing to watch for. If we do break underneath that level, then we're going to sell lower. And where do we go to? Where are we headed to? If we break under 599 today here on the Qs, we are going there. That's where it is. We're going into 590. So almost a $9 downside trade here upon us if we break under 599. But that is what we must break before we see that big sell pressure, okay? KJT Bullish, thank you, man. Much appreciated again. Thank you for doing that. And whoa, shit, Gunny, wow. Gunny Trades, thank you, man. Thank you for always supporting Gunny. You know where that's going to. That's going right back to you guys. The November giveaway is coming up in 2 weeks. So be there or be square. Gunny, thank you for always supporting. Thank you for always supporting. You guys got to stop donating because if you keep donating, I'm not going to end up trading. All right. Thank you, guys. Much appreciated. Both to KGT Bullish, Gunny Trades, Clutch King, KGT Bullish, Malik Alexander. You guys are awesome. And Mena off the open. Lots of people jumping in. That's awesome. And you guys know this. If anyone's new, every donation I get goes back to you guys. Every single donation I get goes back to you guys. Every single one. I don't keep a single one. You guys know that. I'll show you guys my YouTube algorithm on November, the end of November, the last day, and we'll do a giveaway. So you guys can actually see how much I made on YouTube, and we'll give it right back to you. Whoa, Joshua, wow. Joshua, $99.99. Thank you very much. That's crazy. This is an awesome community. Wow. That is crazy. Thank you very much, Joshua. You are incredible as well. Joshua Garrison, an absolute gentleman. Thank you guys for donating. That is incredible. You guys are going to create a really nice giveaway to the stream on our November session. Okay, and maybe even a bigger one for December. Maybe even a bigger one for December. Okay, so guys, back to the charts. But thank you guys all for that. That is very kind of you. Right. So let's move on. Let's jump into our next chart. Let's jump into Amazon. So Amazon, we discussed this as a bear flag on our Monday session, and the bear flag presented and the bear flag we traded. Okay, that's just what it was. So bear flag in the 1 hour time frame, you saw a little bear flag trade. Where did we trade this? We traded it right here. I'll show you where we traded this. We traded it right here at the 233. We bought puts. I'll show you where. It was right. If you can find it on the intraday, you can see here. We bought puts right here on this green candle, right? And this green candle here. And we got the downside move back into these lows. So that was our day yesterday in Amazon. Quick in and out. Love trades like this because it's just you're right or you're wrong very quickly, right? You short into a supply zone, into a level, and you're either right or you're wrong. And this was the exact example of just being right. If we were wrong, we would have lost 15%. If we were right, we win 50%. And that's why these trades are so incredible. Now, this morning here in Amazon, where are we going to? Well, the 1 hour time frame bear flag presented. The 1 hour bear flag actually resulted in some downside. Now, here's the problem. We're back at demand here, right? So if you liked it at resistance, at supply, you no longer like it this morning for shorts. And that's my mindset. I don't like Amazon this morning for shorts. Truthfully, I don't. As long as we are back at support here, which is the 228 level here on Amazon, which was the start of that major upside move. Remember the big upside move on Amazon after earnings? Look at the chart for a second. Look at the big upside move after the big E, right? The big E was here at 225. Therefore, I would say this. You really don't want to be short in 228, but even more so into 225. This is an area where this stock can begin to hold up. Why? Because you have a lot of pent-up buyers sitting right here at this zone. So be careful of that. This is where things become V-shapey, right? 225 as your big colossal level. If you want to look for longs there, do it, right? If you see us confirm the market goes higher, SPY's going higher, Amazon may actually turn from a relatively weak name to a relatively strong name as it holds support. Again, I'll be watching for two things to happen today, though. Either one, look for holds here around the 228, right? Or number two, and even better for me, is watch that 225 level. If we pull back there and I see us begin to form a hold here, I'm looking for a long spot here at the 225 for an upside trade. So either there or there. That's all I'm watching. And I'm not watching shorts today. Really not watching shorts. The only area where I would become interested in watching shorts again is going to be back here at supply, which is 239, 239, 239. Or it's going to be back here under the 220 level, which is far away, right? So under 225, which is far away. So again, mostly watching for longs here as we're approaching a key level of support on Amazon. And Amazon is my top watch this morning today, okay? Let's move on. Let's go over some more takers. Apple. We have not much time today, guys. We have not much time. Apple. On the Apple chart, Apple is also maintaining itself pretty well. It's important when you get big downside days, you must look at the market in two ways. Either one, look for the names that are relatively weak against the market for continuation moves, right? So figure, if you're looking for a relatively weak name, figure AMD, right? AMD relatively weak, it's selling off, even pre-market's pushing new lows, okay? So AMD, weak name. And I would be looking for shorts in AMD. Now, Apple is doing the exact opposite. Apple is actually maintaining itself and holding above the lows of our previous day session. We must be aware of what's strong and what's weak during these pre-markets, especially on these big volatile days. That's how we caught Amazon. Why did we catch Amazon short? Look at this. Actually, this is important. It may not seem so important to you guys, but look how Amazon was trading. Look how Amazon was trading on the 5-minute intraday here at market open. Big downside move compared to SPY, which was doing, again, the same period of time was moving up higher. How did SPY move higher, but Amazon move lower? Well, it was because Amazon was a relatively weak name, right? So even though this chart was moving higher in the opening bell session, Amazon was disconnected from the overall market direction, hence moving down lower. And when SPY began to reject, Amazon began to really sell off. So that's what it is this morning, right? Is to look for the names that are relatively weak and relatively strong. And Apple this morning is relatively strong off the get-go. This is a name I would not be interested in going short on. Why? Because it's holding so well. In fact, I would completely inverse this idea and say if we can get back above the 270 today here in Apple, I'm looking for a long entry here. Apple is a long for me this morning. I know the market's still weak and the market's going lower, but if Apple does transition here above 270, or SPY does begin forming a base today, and I see Apple breaking 270, this is a long opportunity, an upside trade for me. So keeping Apple on the back burner for longs, not watching shorts here. Why? Because it's holding a key demand zone. If we lose 267, I'm wrong about this, and we go down lower. But as of right now, I'm focused on scenario number one because it's a bullish stock holding demand this morning. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing this morning here in Apple. Relatively strong name, maintaining against the market. Okay, Nvidia. So Nvidia has earnings tomorrow session. So everything I say about Nvidia is wrong until that happens. I was watching for longs on our Monday session, and look at this, right? I said Nvidia is the top watch for longs on Monday session, and notice this chart barely even moved to the downside. This is what I'm talking about. If you focus on names that are holding against the market well, you're not going to be that wrong if the market doesn't do what you wanted it to do, right? Look at what Nvidia did yesterday. It did absolutely nothing. So even if you did trade Nvidia yesterday, which you obviously shouldn't have because, again, didn't clear any levels, but you weren't that wrong about this. While the rest of the market sold off very aggressively, Nvidia was maintaining and did nothing. That is why I'm still watching Nvidia longs above the 192. If we clear above 192, I'm looking for long side trades here. That's all I'm doing today, right? If we clear above this resistance level, I'm looking for longs. Granted, there's the big E tomorrow, so transparently, I probably will not look for longs and not even trade this. But post earnings, 192 is the big watch, in which case we can look for the big upside break and retest and continuation move. Either this or this. That's what I'm watching post earnings. I don't know what's going to happen. You're not here for some forecast, tarot cards. I don't know what they're called. I'm not here to do that, right? But I'm going to show you where the things are. The levels, the high volume levels are here and there, and that's where we'll get continuation, either above the highs or below the lows, okay? Let's move on. AMD. So AMD is weak, right? And I said look at the names that are weak for continuation, and this is the name that's weak. And so if I'm watching AMD today, I'm watching this low right there, right? Not right there, right there. 235.50 is my low today. If we can clear back under the Friday pre-market, the Friday lows here at market open and the lows of our Tuesday session, I'm looking for downside back into 225. So if you are looking for a continuation trade here, look for the head and shoulders, which is your left shoulder, your head, and your right shoulder, to present under this neckline. Under the neckline here, which is 235.50 for shorts, back into 225. This would be a top watch for short side trades today if the market does stay weak. Okay, so under this level for shorts. Okay, no longs here on AMD. Again, the reason why is because it's moving weak against the market, right? Let's move on. Teslita. So Teslita is also resemblant of Apple. Remember I said something. Apple is strong. Tesla appears to also be strong here in the pre-market. Now, things can change, right? I'm not saying let's all be locked into this thesis and locked into this bias forever. Things may change. But as of right now, Tesla appears to be relatively strong. And so what is my watch here in Tesla today? Well, even though it's relatively strong, I can't just go and long that, right? Because again, look at the context here. The context here on this chart is the fact that we are just bear flagging into resistance. So you have a huge level of resistance here at 4 and 5. And so this is where I become confused. My confusion is we have relative strength here on Tesla, but the bear flag on the 4-hour and on the 1-hour time frames. So I don't know what's going to happen here. But I do expect the move to be pretty big. Either we're going to continue this bear flag breakdown, which is what we're seeing right now, the bear flag, and result in downside back in 380, or we're going to see us rally above the 4 and 5 and squeeze out a lot of shorts and see a big upside trade. I don't know which scenario is going to happen, but I'm going to watch and see what happens here. If we can clear back under, I would say back under 404, right, which is the lows of our session here. I would even argue it's not even 404. It's really under 397. If we break under this level here, this red zone, then I am confirming the bear side trade here. So the way I would trade this is either going to be under the 397, underneath the lows of our Monday morning session, under the lows of our Thursday session here, November 13th, for a downside trade back into here. And this would be a confirmed bear flag trade, which is scenario number 1. Okay. Scenario number 2 is going to be we squeeze out all the shorts who are showing this bear flag, and we clear back above 4 and 5, in which case we can look for an upside move and a continuation play. right? So this is scenario number 2. I'm watching both today. And anything in between here and here, I don't know. I don't get involved here. I don't have any edge in between these zones because, again, this is an area where I have no levels. My edge is drawn from levels, and right now we are sandwiched between the midpoint, between a big level and a big level. So let's look to see if we can clear back above 4 and 5. If we do, upside. If we don't, downside. That's what I'm seeing this morning. But everything in between here is a DZ, is a dead zone between 4 and 5 and 397. Okay, let's move on. We have some other things to discuss this morning. Okay, let's go over some other things. Palantir. Palantir 170s are a big level. What did we say yesterday in Palantir? All we said was watch 170 yesterday. And if you did that, you killed it. Okay, look at 170. 170, 170, 170, 170. Big upside, pull back, breakdown 170, retest 170. This is probably the only confusing trade here, was right here. This is probably the only trade you would have lost money on, right there, right? Why? Because in theory, this should have broken down, retested, and downside moved, but it didn't do that, right? So again, this is probably the only trade you would have lost on yesterday was a close, and you guys probably were not trading that. If you guys were, you have some bigger problems. But that was your trade yesterday, okay? Now today's session here on Palantir, we're under 170. I would argue if we're under 170, we're going back into 160. That's what it is, okay? So 170 bull bear pivot, below 170, 160, above 170, 188, okay? As of right now, mostly bear sided because we're underneath that 170 level, right? Guys, we have 1,100 people here in the pre-market session with 450 likes. Get the like count up. That's the only thing I asked for. That is the only thing I asked for. Let's go over one more ticker today. Let's go over one last ticker. Let's go over Netflix. So Netflix post-stock split. I think this is an important discussion. So Netflix post-stock split did nothing yesterday, okay? It did nothing. It didn't really do anything. It just consolidated between levels. If I'm watching for anything today here on Netflix, it's going to be either at my big level of demand here, 106, or my big level of supply here, 115. Everything in between here is a dead zone. But as of this morning, if I see us pull back into 106 today, and I see us begin to form a hold here, I'm looking for a long side trade after 106s, right? This would be my top watch today on Netflix. If we do pull back there, watch the 106 for holds, okay? Guys, that is it for me today. Thank you all for joining in. I appreciate everyone who is here off the get-go. I know we didn't go over as many tickers as we usually do. I think it's because we got caught up in some tomfoolery, okay? I'll see you all for live trading. Have a happy and safe trading session. Good luck, guys.